All right, joining me now to discuss Chief Executive of Python Security Consulting and former Secret Service agent Donald Lane. Thank you so much for being here. Does the Secret Service have everything that the department needs when it comes to protecting the president on a property like Mar-a-Lago?
Morning, Jessica. Yes, they do, especially since the events that happened earlier, the assassination attempts that we had when he was a candidate, greatly increased the Secret Service's need, not only for personnel and equipment, but they did get that. And I do believe that Mar-a-Lago is well staffed and equipped to be able to protect the president.
Mar-a-Lago, as we know, is also a public club. We know that the president and first lady were actually in D.C. when this occurred at 1:30 in the morning. But walk me through Camp David versus a public club where people are members. How do you lock a place like that down?
Yeah, it's difficult when that's the case. Anytime you have a secure location very close to the public or where public will be staying, especially overnight. But what you do is you just try to designate two different zones. It's very clearly delineated as to what is public and what is not. And, folks are well aware of what is public and what is not. That's not to say they wouldn't be aware of some incident like this that happens in the secure area. Unfortunately, that they would be aware of that just because of the proximity. But in terms of security, it can be done, and it is done. And those zones are they're defined very well and clearly delineated. So I don't think there's a problem necessarily in that. It is a little different, though, than, say, a Waco or a Camp David, where they're completely secluded.
Sure. What will change regarding the president's Secret Service now that there has been this incident? We know Butler, he was shot in his ear. This is not the first time that this has happened. Are we going to see an increase in Secret Service agents? What does this look like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I do believe you'll see an increase. I know they're currently working on that, beefing up staffing and getting more agents involved. That's critical that happen, and I know that those efforts are in place as we speak. So I do think you'll see an increase in agents, not only on the detail, but in the agency in general, which then takes pressure off of the agents who are working already. I think that's happening. I also think you'll continue to see an increase in the equipment that's used, some of the technology that's used as they continue to grow to make things more safe in this increasingly volatile world that we live in.
You know, it's interesting. We covered a story recently when the president was here in New York, and you look around and everywhere you're kind of pointing out, okay, they're a Secret Service, they're a Secret Service. When he's not there, that doesn't mean Secret Service stands down in Mar-a-Lago, right? Walk me through that. Secret Service agents still on scene there, even though the president is not physically there?
Absolutely, sure. You have, it would be it would be similar to the White House, for instance. You have a working shift that's around the president, of course, working him as an individual and as a person. And then the other contingency of agents would be at the places that he normally visits, in this case, Mar-a-Lago. So you have a contingency of agents there, making sure that they continue to secure that location. You wouldn't want to have anybody while he's away sneak into those areas, lie in wait, those types of things. So you have to have, stringent security whether he's there or not, if it's somewhere that he is going to visit again soon. Now, if he's visiting a hotel, let's say in a foreign country, and he's not going to be back, you don't know when he's going to be back there. Of course, agents don't stay there. But in places where we know he's going back to, there's a permanent presence in those places.
Will they do anything differently now that he has likely been breached? What will happen today in Washington, D.C. for not just the president, but the first lady as well regarding their security there?
Yeah, both details are going to look at what happened here. Could this have been headed off sooner? Could it have been dealt with, say, before the bridge as to, instead of after? What happened there? Did he conceal these items, the gas can and the shotgun, and only produce them once he got closer? So all that's going to be looked at today. There'll be briefings on it, security briefings for sure, and they'll be able to better determine, how to move forward with that and if improvements are indeed necessary. But let me say that the security works. It worked in this case. It's unfortunate that someone lost their life due to their actions. But, this is what you want to see is that, heaven forbid this person makes it past agents and gets into the facility and lies in wait. You know, what a disaster that would be. So I'm proud of the agency for doing their job today. I'm sorry for the agents who had to be involved in a deadly shooting, but that's the job.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because people don't think about that side of things often because they are doing their job, right? We know that they were wearing cameras, as was the Palm Beach deputy who was there at the scene. Our understanding is they said, drop what's in your hands. What are we likely to see on that camera? What are we talking about, that split-second decision before shots were fired?
Yeah, it can be split seconds before it happens, you know, if the threat rises to that level. And it's all about the threat that is produced by the individual approaching. So if someone's approaching and it's just them and I can see their hands and, you know, they're
Right.
talking to me, then I'm going to continue to engage with them. As soon as I see a weapon, especially a shotgun, I'm going to immediately withdraw my weapon and tell that person, you know, drop the gun, drop the gun. And if he comes anywhere close to pointing it at me or any other agent, of course, I'm going to have to take deadly action, unfortunately, in this case, to stop that individual. So what you're likely to see is something like that. Verbal commands is always the first thing. You know, physical presence is the first thing.
Sure.
Then verbal commands. Stop. You know, stop. Let me see your hands. I think you'll hear that. You'll probably see that. And then at some point, this person does not comply, and the result ends up being what it is.
Well, fortunately, this was a stop before it could become much worse. Former Secret Service agent Donald Lane, thank you. I appreciate your time. We are monitoring this breaking news out of Mar-a-Lago. As we've said, an armed man